We will now begin the Copyright Office's 4th Copyright Modernization webinar. During the program, attendees may submit questions using the Q&A panel on the right side of the WebEx screen. You might have to expand the panel by clicking on the arrow next to where the label Q&A appears. First, please welcome the Register of Copyrights and Director of the Copyright Office, Karen Temple.
Thank you, and welcome everyone to our 4th public webinar on modernization. In April, we released to the public our vision for the next 5 years in a new strategic plan. Our vision centers on the Supreme Court's recognition of copyright as the engine of free expression. Modernization is a key component of the plan as the office looks to completely reimagine itself to meet the challenges of today and tomorrow. Critical to the success of our efforts is an ongoing public dialogue, and these webinars are one of the tools we are using to keep the lines of communication open. Over the last several months, we have received a number of questions about modernization. So for today's webinar, we will take the opportunity to address some of those questions. We hope to help the public understand the functions of the Enterprise Copyright System, or EECS as we call it, future available data, and other issues related to modernization. Please feel free to submit further questions during the course of this program. Our program today will be presented by Ricardo Faraj Fehu, Director of the Copyright Modernization Office, and Suman Shukla, Section Head for Data Management in the Copyright Modernization Office. Once again, thank you for joining us, and thank you for your interest.
The first question is to Ricardo Faraj Fehu. Can you clarify the difference between the ECS user experience and the components of registration and recordation?
Thank you, Ananda, and thank you everyone for participating in today's webinar. So the ECS is envisioned as the new web-based cloud-hosted user-friendly platform for the public to interact with the Copyright Office. That's what we call the application that is going to support the mission of the entire Copyright Office. The global design and usability testing are the user experience aspect of the ECS. So we want to make sure that the system is user-friendly, is easy to use, it's not complicated, and it can actually, the experience that you have when you use the system is satisfactory to our customers and not to a specific audience. The specific system functionalities supporting recordation and registration are envisioned to be an integrated components. In other words, recordation and registration, they will be the same look and feel and the same aspects, functionality across all offices within the Copyright Office. So what you see in recordation, functions in recordation, they will be very similar as you go to the registration area and so forth. So we're trying to make the experience very unified. It's like going to Amazon or some other place where you see that you're going to one point area, one place to actually do the transactions, and then it takes you to different places, but the same look and feel is still there.
The next question, again for Ricardo. With the new system, will uploading be faster than it is now? Also, will we be able to upload multiple files at the same time?
So the goal to the system is to improve the user experience. And by improving the user experience, it will ease up how quickly you can actually submit a registration. In the past, there's so many steps to do it. We're trying to improve internally how that process will happen. So in essence, you will have an improved experience. It's not about being fast or slow, but it's like about how the experience is and how quickly you can get to the end of that transaction. It all depends how complex as your request is going to be. But the goal is to actually improve the user experience. To answer, can we upload a few items at the same time? The goal is yes. We're trying based on the technology that we want to do. We want to improve that as well, where instead of you doing one item at a time, we might be able to do batches of those items. But we are actually looking into developing APIs and other mechanisms. So if members of industry or individuals have large requests or things that we want to upload, it can be done very easily and very quickly.
The next question is for Suman Shukla. What are some examples of the type of evidence-based decision-making that you anticipate? Alternatively, what kinds of data will be available? For example, will there be aggregate information on application types or geographic distribution, et cetera?
Thank you, Ananda, and thank you everyone for joining this webinar. So talking about evidence-based decision-making, this is pretty much aligned with the copyright as well as library strategic plans, where we want to make data available online, searchable, and make it available to the public for a data transparency perspective and make information transparent to everyone. So to bring those evidence-based decision-making data, we need to perform some analysis in-house, build a data quality so that we can provide a consistent, complete, and accurate information to the public. To do that, we have to do a lot of work at the back end, which we are already doing for the data management initiatives. And the outcome of this would be we will be able to identify the key areas that are having issues or holdups or places where there's a resource crunch or there's a process gap, or analyzing those gaps would bring us facts about how many registrations has been done, how many recordings has been done, which specific area is registering more work, why is it happening, what kind of correspondence is happening, what is the format of correspondence people are using, it's an email, phone call, or drop-ins. So we will be able to identify different categories of information, and we'll be able to modify the process, streamline the process, reduce the waste, and we'll be able to make more informed decisions for the benefit of the organization as a whole. Back to you, Ananda.
The next question is also for Suman Shukla. With respect to digitization of the card catalog, will it be searchable? Also, will you be using optical character recognition with legacy cards?
Sure. So right now we have 25,524 drawers and 41.5 million images in card catalogs. And we have used the OCR technology to capture the images online and also extract some metadata out of it. There are two indexes as of now, ranging from 1955 to 1970 and 1971 to 1977, that are available online in a searchable format where users can go online and search those card catalogs and images with the OCR data. The remaining would be made available they are available for browsing as of now, but they will be used with full search capability once we have the metadata extracted from those OCRs. So just to clarify what the OCR means here, it's the optical character recognition, which is a method used in a mechanical or electronic conversion of images of typed, handwritten, or printed text into a machine-readable format. And the challenge with the current card catalogs is we have a range of handwritten data, which is not easy to convert into a machine-readable format, and hence we have challenges extracting the metadata out of it. So we have an ongoing initiative to capture those metadata from those OCR images. Once they're fully available, we will integrate with the existing images, and those images would be searchable to the users. Thank you.
The next question is also for Suman Shukla. In the last webinar, you mentioned updates to the user interface of the registration process. What is the office's plan to integrate the user interface with the underlying data model?
Thank you, Ananda. And this I would start explaining with our data management initiative that we have been working for past over almost close to 2 years. We explored more than 18+ databases, interviewed the subject matter expertise from each division in Copyright Office, did some gap analysis of the existing data sets to create the enterprise data model, And this data model, as of now, is a living model that can be used as a baseline to develop any copyright system. So the model is platform agnostic and scalable, and we should be able to create and add or modify and update this enterprise data model with any upcoming new requirements that we anticipate for our future system. We also have the data dictionary, source to target mapping of those data sets, which can be leveraged for any future development. This current data model can be used as a baseline and can be incorporated into any requirement for the future system. So it's available, usable, and we are using it as a baseline. So the data team is already working with initiatives like Recordation, Modernization Initiative, Public Record System, and Registration Initiatives to use this data model to incorporate in as a baseline and provide any data guidance. So yes, eventually that's the goal, and we are working towards that, incorporating this data model into the user interface for the future system.
We will now address some questions that have been submitted during this webinar. Question for Ricardo. I am curious about the pilot program for an online recordation system. Who will be invited to participate in this program, and what happens after the pilot program? Is there a timeline for a client-facing online recordation system?
So the recordation pilot, we are going to be sending invitations to select individuals and groups to participate in the pilot. And what we're trying to capture is with the pilot and with this feedback from customers is to see if we're actually hitting the mark. Are we really addressing the requirements and the concerns from our customers? After the pilot is released, we will have a period of close to a year to take all the feedback from our customers, make changes, improve the application, and then a year from the time that the pilot is released, or even earlier, we want to release then the first release of the new automated recordation system. So it doesn't mean that we stop there. We want for customers to provide feedback to us on a continuous basis so we can actually improve the experience as we go along. So we are going to continue to receive that feedback and inquire for that feedback to improve the product overall, not only for recordation, but for all the aspects of the EECS as we move forward. Thank you.
Next question will be for Karen. Regarding the electronic title list, or ETL, used for recordations, will the office be introducing a system that allows remitters to test their ETL file to ensure it will be accepted, or will we be subject to rejection months after submission?
Great, thank you. That's actually a really good question. One of the things that we received in terms of feedback from our users, and which we will be incorporating into our new system, is to provide more transparency and communication with respect to the status of your application. Now, I think all of the functionality will not necessarily be there in the initial pilot phase, but this is something that by the time that the full system goes online, we will hope to have fully integrated into that new system. In the pilot phase, though, we will have a dashboard, for example, where you will actually be able to see the status of your application. So you'll be able to confirm, for example, that we received the application. You will know that it will be under review. You will know whether the initial review has required more questions that will need to be answered, and or whether it will be, or whether it has been rejected. So the pilot will start exploring increased transparency and communication with our users, and then we'll use that feedback from the pilot to see if there's even another few steps that we might want to take in this area before we do launch the full system.
Next question is for Ricardo. Does the Copyright Office anticipate converting all registration processes to the new online system? For example, automated database applications must still be filed on paper at this time.
the answer to this question, once we put the new ECS, what we are, for example, with our business process reengineering effort that we're working on now, we want to look at our processes and see if the processes that we're currently doing are effective, are streamlined, and what we wanted to do is improve how we do business internally. And one of the areas that we're going to be addressing on that is what you just stated there. We want to see if doing an electronic submission, it will actually be more efficient. I know we get people that actually come to the office and do walk-ins. They bring materials and artifacts. So we have to ensure that we continue to support both aspects of how products come in and are registered into this office. So we want to improve both experience, but as we do the BPR, we are going to hopefully address or improve our current processes to make that experience easier and quicker.
And I would just add, this is Karen Temple, that, as we do explore, how much we can make this a full online system, those are some of the questions that we'll be asking. As some of you know who have been utilizing our new group registration processes, those we are encouraging people to file online so that they can get used to using our system kind of as an exclusively online system. But at the same time, as Ricardo alluded to, we want to make sure that if there are customers who do need to have access to paper for a variety of reasons, for example, maybe they don't have the broadband access or computer access that they need, that we are able to meet those customers where they are as well, and that option is still available in some instances. So the overall focus, of course, is to turn into a almost completely online system, but we are also going to ensure that we're able to meet those customers who don't have immediate access to an online system where they need to be met as well.
Next question is for Ricardo. How do I sign up to test the pilot filing system?
If you have an interest to become a participant, send us an email to askcmo@copyright.gov. Tell us the interest, what areas you would like to participate, if either recordation or all, and then we will make sure as we are doing the selection of the individuals to do the pilot, we reach out. We can actually reach out to you and invite you to be part of this pilot. We want to make sure that we are covering everyone, all aspects of industry and individuals, authors, and creators to ensure that we are doing what we're supposed to be doing to the benefit of you, the customer.
Will I be able to register a sound recording online and receive confirmation immediately for Ricardo?
I believe that is the intent of the system is as Karen stated, what we're planning is to have some sort of dashboard that as you submit your product to be registered, you can actually see where it sits, how it's been accepted or not. We are planning to do some of the requirements, make some changes that the information that you are requested to provide is accurate and it is exactly what we need, so we don't have to go in correspondence and reject something that you already have submitted. It's happening, I think, from my understanding is now that at times you submit something and it takes some time to get back before you find out that there's an error on the application. What we're trying to do is improve that and make it that once you click and submit your product, you know where that product goes and if it's been accepted or not. So we're planning to improve that. That is our hope, and so it makes the process easy and quicker for you, the customer. Thanks.
Another question for Ricardo. Will there be an RFP, and will this be open to the public regarding strategy, oversight, and communication of the Copyright Modernization Plan?
So that's a good question. So we are working with the Office of the Chief Information Officer and the General Schedule Agency, GSA, and there will be an RFP that will be sent. They're currently working on the planning stages, that it will be sent to the public to, as we did a year and a half ago, to solicit feedback from the industry when it comes to constructive or innovative contracting vehicles to create either the full ECS or components of the ECS. There might be certain areas that in industry, there might be a suggestion to do it better. We are open to that. We said we were going to do the RFP, and we are going to do it. It's in the planning stages, and we should have something hopefully before the end of this year that it will go out to the public in several vehicles. GSA is helping us with that, and hopefully maybe in a few months I can give you a more definitive update when is the actual RFP will be out. So stay tuned.
And this is Karen again. I would just add to that RFP, as Ricardo mentioned, is to explore potentially creative contracting solutions for our copyright modernization initiative. It won't go generally over strategy, oversight, and communication as the question requested. However, we do plan on communicating directly with users in a variety of fora, for example, and through our webinars such as this. Many of you may have participated as well in the most recent NOI that we submitted on modernization, where we asked for questions, and we asked questions and we asked for feedback rather on some of those questions. And so we will continue to do notices of inquiry as well, asking for information directly from the public in terms of our strategy and oversight. So the RFP will be more focused on the contracting solutions, and we will continue to use a variety of fora to communicate generally about strategy, oversight, and communication with respect to the overall modernization plan as we move forward.
Next question also for Ricardo. Are there any plans to make complete copyright certificates available for viewing online? And if so, would the Copyright Office scan old certificates?
So as the first question, the answer is yes. I believe one of the, as we were exploring some of the requirements and needs from our customer, that was one that we have captured as a user story to do, that once you actually are submitting an application and you can actually see a preview of how the certificate is going to look like, and you can actually print a draft copy of the certificate before you actually get your official signature from the office. With regards to certificates that have been issued in the past, I believe we have an effort to digitize all our all records, so records that have been in the Copyright Office from the millions of records, and we want to make that all online eventually. It's a daunting effort to do that because we have to take a lot of the information from the old system. So as part of the data migration that is going to occur from the old system, we want to move that data, make it available online, make it available on the new system, so it will be as seamless as possible. It's not going to be done initially. You're not going to see it right away, especially for old records, but anything that you register new, the intent is that you will see that certificate.
A question for Ricardo. I've heard that the Siebel system will be decommissioned and Salesforce will be implemented. When does ECO expect that?
I actually, we have not made a determination in a product or in a solution. We are not driving our decision when it comes to development based on a product. We actually drive in our decision based on the requirements of the office. So to clarify any rumors, we have not made a selection or decided to go in any particular platform when it comes to the solution of the ECS.
Question for Ricardo. Are there plans to enlarge the file size upload limitations to allow the upload of deposit materials or files that are significantly over the current 500 megabyte limit?
I believe that is the intent. I know we cannot, again, open the size to a larger size. I think we need to understand, make sure that our capacity, the library has the capacity to do that. But yes, the initial limit that we have now, that is going to increase tremendously moving forward. So yes, we will not have that limitation that is currently happening now.
Question for Ricardo. Will there be a reformatting or restructuring of the U.S. Copyright Office catalog so that it makes linkages between registrations and recordations and one recordation to another, that is a chain of title?
The answer is absolutely yes. That is the intent. We are trying to, we currently working into creating a new public record, and as part of what Simon was speaking earlier, her initiative is to actually make that happen, to make sure that all our data is mapped correctly and linkaged correctly. So we will not have the limitations that we had in the past.
Suman, would you like to add anything to that?
Sure, and then this is pretty much based on the data management initiative we are working. We have created that data model, enterprise data model that I talked about earlier. We do have those source to target mapping. That means end-to-end mapping of the data information flow from one end to another. We do have a business process mapped as per our enterprise data model. So once we implement, we will make sure that the information within the copyright, whether it's recordation, registration, public records, historical records, the intent is to map all the information end to end. So if we pull an information regarding a title or an author or a book, we should be able to pull all the related information at different levels of depth as we wish to see. We may get a high level and we can drill down to more details to it. So the intent is to connect the data so we can have all information connected together and available to the public.
And this will be our final question for Karen. If you are going to make the online process more transparent by providing status updates, will you also show that the Copyright Office has reached regarding the expiration date of the application date?
Thanks. I think that question might be focused on the issue of duration or term of copyright, and that is something that I know that many people are interested in and wanting to have, easier information. It's often very difficult to calculate the ending of the term of copyright for particular works. While we won't have, specific dates to say the copyright has expired at this certain date, by providing more information about the author information, for example, ownership information, that will hopefully enable people to make that calculation themselves in a much easier way. So we won't be doing the calculation. That's a legal determination, but we will be providing more information that should be able to assist the public in making that determination themselves.
That will conclude today's webinar. Thank you for your participation, and please join us for the next webinar. Any questions about modernization can be sent to the email address askcmo@copyright.gov.